Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing? So this past month has been absolutely crazy. As you guys would have known, I recently moved into my own apartment, which is where I'm living right now. But not only that, there's been a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes which I haven't talked about yet, including talking to some pretty big companies. But today I wanted to make a really exciting announcement in that I have officially joined an actual professional esports team as a streamer. Now the team is called Noble and they're an American esports organization that competes in games like Counter-Strike, Halo, League of Legends, Smite, and PUBG. They don't actually compete in Overwatch, so I'm really excited to bring that game and that audience over to this team. So yeah, I hope you guys are proud of me. I do consider this to be a pretty big milestone. I've been making content for over 3 years now, and to have an actual professional esports team let me sort of join them as a streamer is a huge thing. And don't worry about Transcend, I am still a part of that squad and you'll still get those iconic moments and videos of me and my friends playing together. Anyways, while we're on the topic of me being on YouTube for 3 years, geez, I'm old. In today's video, I want to do a fun little recap of Symmetra and her changes through the past couple of years, as well as my story of how I came to play her. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I don't actually have footage of Symmetra 1.0 gameplay, so I'm just going to use this gameplay preview that was uploaded on the official Play Overwatch YouTube channel. Okay, rewinding back a couple of years, when I first started playing Overwatch, and this was during beta, I was not interested in Symmetra as a character at all. And it wasn't because I didn't like her or her character design, it was just that I was instantly drawn to other characters such as D.Va and Mercy and didn't really care for trying her out. If you look back at my oldest videos on this channel, which I'm not encouraging you guys to do because they're pretty crap, but I actually made a lot of videos on, you know, D.Va, Mei, and Mercy at the beginning. You know when you try out a new game and there's all these cool heroes, but there's some that you're instantly drawn to and some that you're aware of, but not really interested in investing your time into? Well, that was Symmetra 1.0 for me. It's crazy because looking back in hindsight, Symmetra is such a cool character, and I don't know why I wasn't really interested in playing her at that time. I guess to add to that, there weren't really any streamers or YouTubers making content specifically based on this hero, so you couldn't really draw inspiration from that. Symmetra 1.0 was probably the least refined version of the character, obviously because it's the first iteration. She still had her old teleporter as well as turrets that you had to physically put on top of objects and walls. The main difference being, of course, that Symmetra initially had 25 HP shields that she could give to her teammates. Now fast forward to December 2016, Symmetra got her first major rework, and it was around this time that I became really interested in playing this hero. Symmetra 2.0 is probably still my favorite iteration of Symmetra till this day. So in her rework, she got a few new abilities, the first one being Photon Barrier, where she could basically throw out a shield that looks like a dinner plate in front of her, and her ultimate was also changed so that she could switch between her old teleporter as well as a new shield generator ability that basically puts down a device that gives additional shields to all her teammates. So Symmetra 2.0 holds a lot of nostalgia value for me because it was with this version of Symmetra that I really started to climb in competitive. She was so fun to play in such a unique way, and I think that she really gained a new audience and player base because of the rework, but at the same time she also got a reputation for being a bad pick in competitive, and as you guys would all know, Symmetra mains have gotten their fair share of abuse and toxicity in competitive as a result of wanting to play this character. What I loved the most about Symmetra back then was her Photon Barrier, her shield generator, as well as her auto-lock primary fire. So firstly, Photon Barrier was such a versatile ability that actually allowed Symmetra to defend herself, and it was so fun to use back in the day to block, you know, Reinhardt Earth Shatters or see a Pharah ulting into herself. It was just a really useful ability that I don't think should have been removed because it gave Symmetra a form of self-defense. Now shield generator was also a really fun ability that I loved using because you could put it in so many different places, and the fact that you had control over whether you wanted to use a teleporter or a shield gen depending on the situation. One of my favorite things to do back in the day was to put the shield generator in a spot where I knew it was going to be really hard for the enemy flankers to find it, and to watch them actually try and the fail was absolutely spectacular. And of course, how can we talk about old Symmetra without talking about her primary fire? There was a lot of controversy back in the day about the fact that Symmetra could do so much damage without having to aim, and the fact that her weapon would lock onto the enemies. But this was partly the reason why she was so iconic. You'd see Symmetra players having their absolute worst aim but still doing so much, and seeing her so skinny was just something to witness. Personally, I didn't see it as that big of an issue because there were other things with Symmetra that sort of made up for the fact that she didn't have to aim, but clearly Blizzard had other ideas. Putting that aside, about a year ago Symmetra got reworked again and she officially became a DPS character. Now I think this rework came about because the majority of the community thought that she was in a pretty bad spot and that she was either too powerful or useless. Now I do agree with that sentiment to a certain extent, but I think that most of the Symmetra players who actually played the character themselves were pretty fine with the hero already. And much like Mercy, except on a lesser scale, thank god, a lot of these Symmetra players were pretty worried about what this rework would do to their beloved character and were pretty divided in terms of opinions. I think that we can all agree that Symmetra did get changed dramatically, but in the end it turned out okay. For me personally, Symmetra 3.0 is definitely a lot harder than previous versions of the hero, and it took me a lot of time to adjust to the rework, and I'm still trying to figure out how to play her more effectively. I don't know about you guys, but seeing other really good Symmetra players such as Stevo and Blurb being able to adjust and play this new version of the character, maybe even better than before, sort of really inspired me to keep playing Symmetra. In terms of what I love the most about Sim 3.0, she's a lot more fast paced to play, she's smoother, and I think that overall she's a lot more balanced. I think that her teleport is a lot more intuitive to use now, and her turrets are definitely a lot easier and faster to deploy. Having said that, there's still a few things that I don't really enjoy about Sim 3.0. My main gripe with her now is that she doesn't really have any form of self-defense ever since Photon Barrier got changed and moved to her ultimate. And even though I'm used to a new weapon and I can aim a lot better now, I still think that they should have kept some element from her old primary file. The fact is that me and a lot of you guys came to love Symmetra because she was easily accessible, but she wasn't necessarily broken. And despite the fact that Blizzard changed her to cater to the wider player base and to sort of get more people into playing her, no one has really played Symmetra 3.0 apart from original Sim mains. Unfortunately, a lot of that toxicity and perceptions of Symmetra being a throw character still exists today, and not much has really changed in terms of the community's attitude towards the character. She's still a niche hero, and people will still blame you for losing the game if you're playing Symmetra, which is really pitiful to see. So yeah, overall I think there are things I really like about Sim 3.0 and a few things that I'm not a huge fan of, but I think it was a step in a good direction. Anyways, that is my little story and short recap of Symmetra over the past couple of years, and I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. For you guys that play Symmetra as well, I want to hear down in the comments below your story of how you came to play the character and what you enjoy the most about her. As I said, there are many exciting things that are happening at the moment, and I can't wait to see how this next step in my journey as a content creator is gonna look like. I just want to thank you guys once again because you're the ones that are making this possible, and you've been the best audience and community that I could have asked for, and I can't wait to share everything with you. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.